Dun 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 dun, Kenos News. So today on Kenos News. Today we got tomorrow we got the Motion of Cars movies 3 in 3D, and we got the Blogs episode 8 tomorrow morning before school. We got Reading with Kenneth. It starts tomorrow after school. And I got something to say. If you'll excuse me.
Not to you. Just me.
What?
The yellow
Dun dun dun, next week is Halloween. Stay tuned for more news. Let's see what Kenneth has to say. Dun 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 dun. Hello everybody, and welcome to Kenneth's News! Woo! So today we're going to be reading 3 stories, as I said last, Friday. We're reading School's Uniforms Think Again.
Use this helmet, we have to go back.
We're reading Lloyd's during the American Revolution and Patriots during the American Revolution, and the Emma Stayed sails again. Stop it!
That's $10.
Preston, draw. Draw.
So,
So anyways, the first thing we're going to read is Stop! School's Uniforms Think Again. The Tuesday's meeting of the school.
Why is Preston
Should
crying?
I tell him to stop running in front of the camera? At Tuesday's meeting at the school committee, Superintendent Russell made his position clear. He wants the children in our city's public schools to wear school uniforms.
Why did you yell at him?
Because he's running right in front of the camera.
Yeah, so? You don't yell at him. You go see if he's okay, bro. Oh, I guess man does.
Uniforms make life
How many times you gotta tell you to stop yelling at him?
Uniforms help children feel better about themselves.
Because one
said,
person would either not get
Parents do not have to decide what kids of clothes to buy for school. It's easier to get ready for school each day. Uniforms help children feel better about themselves. He added, children from families in need wear the same clothes as children from rich families. Uniforms make it easier for children of different backgrounds to make friends. The suggestion sparked a lively debate.
I'll walk right down here and do it. Stand up for a second. Stand up for a second.
Why?
Just stand up for a second.
Why?
You just stand up or it's gonna hurt worse. Turn around.
Why?
Stop asking me why and do what I say. Don't yell at him again. There, I kicked him right in the ass.
Oh, baby.
Brother yell at you. I yell at him, buddy.
You know how I got on the stop sign? I said, come on, we're about to go kick Kenny in the ass.
Kick him in the butt.
This suggestion sparked a lively debate. 2 committee members, Stan Oakley and May Stokes, said that they thought it was a good idea. Mr. Oakley suggested that the schools would look much neater.
Here, without breathe.
Children's behavior might even improve. Woo! Others were not so sure. Is there a problem now? Asked Gary Washington.
Ask if everyone else listening.
I wasn't aware.
Bring up some fellas in the gummy bear. Don't ignore me!
Indeed. What is the issue? What problem is our superintendent trying to solve? Would Would children really feel better about themselves if they had to wear clothes that someone else picked out? No. Americans like to express themselves through their clothes. Uniforms can crush creativity. Paying for uniforms might be hard for some families. They would have to pay for the uniforms no matter what it cost. Then they would need to buy other clothes for the children to wear outside of school. Mr. Russell has asked the school committee to vote for his plan. Clearly, the city is not ready to make a decision yet. We need more information. The school committee should interview students, parents, and teachers in town that have school uniforms. They should do research to find out the cost of uniforms. Then they should hold public meetings to discuss their findings. It would be foolish to rush into a vote on this question. Boom, and that's school uniforms. Think again. Next we have Loyalists during the American Revolution and Patriots during the American Revolution. So anyways, I got a bigger copy that I'm going to use instead of this tiny piece of crap. I'm going to find it so I can use it instead of using a small printed where I can barely see the words and I have to be like, oh, I can't see. There it is.
I only got 5 of mine.
This
I
guy.
got 5.
Another tree.
I got 5. We both settled.
During the 1700s, many Americans became unhappy with British rulers. Many wanted complete freedom from England, while others were more inclined to remain part of the British Empire. These people became known as loyalists because they were loyal to Great Britain. Hear me? To Great Britain. To just perfect Great Britain. Many of the loyalists thought the British Parliament was being unfair to the American colonists. They did not like the taxes that were imposed on the American colonies, but did not want to break away from England and form a new government. They thought it would be better to work out differences they had with British rulers and remain under the protection of the powerful Great Britain. Even though many loyalists had never been to England, they thought they were English and wanted to remain so. Life for loyalists was difficult during the American Revolution. They found themselves at odds with their neighbors. Often they were ridiculed and treated very badly. Some of them had their houses burned and their properties destroyed. Those who couldn't afford to do so left their homes, businesses, and land and returned to England. Most never came back to America. George Washington's neighbors and good friends, Lord Fairfax, was one of the loyalists who left America rather than fight against his homeland. After the war, the loyalists fared just as badly. Their families were often held in poor Easton for years after the war. Now, Patriots during the American Revolution. It's like 2 stories, except for it's like one big story, and it's talking about 2 things. Okay, let's finish. Before America was on its own, the American colonies belonged to Great Britain during the 1700s. People began to talk about obtaining freedom from England over the years. The British Parliament had forced Americans to pay many taxes. Many Americans believed these taxes was unfair, since the colonies had no representations in Parliament. Unrest began to grow. People began to desire freedom from England. The people who wanted the American colonies to become free and independent from England was called patriots. Patriots thought they had done all they could to get the British government to compromise with them. They had sent representatives to Parliament several times to ask for the taxes to be dropped and for the American colonies to be given representatives in Parliament each time. The members of Parliament refused. The Patriots thought they had been good, loyal subjects to the British government, but this same government did not want to help them. Most of the colonists had been born in American and had never ever been in England. They felt they were Americans and not British. They did not think people all the way across the Atlantic Ocean could rule them effectively. Because of all of these reasons, the Patriots decided to ask for freedom from England. They wrote the Declaration of Independence, a document that outlined their reasons for seeking freedom. When the British sent soldiers to keep the Patriots from establishing their own government, the Patriots fought the 6-year-long Revolutionary War to gain their freedom.
Yeah, we knew you.
Okay, I'm just gonna clip this back together and you can read the last story.
He just wanted you to come and you just like walked like you were mad.
Okay. The last story is called The Hempstead Sails Again. Let's read.
Hold up.
Okay. Let's make sure it's still recording because I already have a video on I'm running out of memory. So anyways, Mystic, Connecticut. Thousands of people come to the Mystic Seaport recently to see the launch of a ship called the Hempstead. The ship's builders used plans and tools from the 19th century to recreate a wooden sailing ship. The ship took 2 years to build. The original Hempstead became famous in 1839. It was sailed to the United States from Cuba. On board were 53 Americans who had been taken from Sierra Leone, their home country, and shipped to Cuba. In Cuba, they had been sold as slaves. It was a crime to bring new slaves into the United States. The man who was bringing Africans to the United States on the Hempstead didn't care about the law. They had broken it before, but this time they were in for a troublesome surprise. The Americans on the ship rebelled. They killed the captain and took over the ship. The Americans wanted to sail back to Sierra Leone. The ship's crew fooled the Americans and took them to Connecticut instead. There, the Africans were caught, put in jail, and tried for murder. But in the end, they won their freedom. In 1976, Warren Moore, a magazine editor, came up with the idea of rebuilding the Hempstead and thought it would be a good way to honor the Hempstead story. which was also told in the 1997 movie Amistad, directed by Steven Spielberg. For more than 14 years, Marr worked to interest people in the project. In 1990, he came to the Mystic Seaport. That's when the project really took off. Mystic Seaport helped raise over $3 million to build the ship. The new Amistad will be both a ship and a museum. Its first stop will be Operation Sail 2000 in New York Harbor on July 4th, aka Independence Day. Then it will sail on, carrying the story for the struggle for freedom. And that's all the stories we have to read today. I'll put it in the folder that we already read. Okay, I'm gonna rename all the stories that we have read. School uniforms, think again. Loyalists during the American Revolution and patriots during the American Revolution. The Amistad sails again. A Kid's Pages interview. Whales and Dolphins. A Letter from Washington, D.C. Weather Tools by me. Fifth Man in Bedtime by me. And Elf for Hire. So those are what we read over the time that I made this. Well, except for one episode. But now I'm going to close this and I'm going to tell you the names of tomorrow's. Okay. Tomorrow is Oil Exploring Atlantic Ocean's Blast and Wales Waters. Bridging the Gaps in New York City. Franny's Journal. Woo! Okay. So those are going to be what we're reading